And some of y'all are waiting on permission. You're waiting on someone to give you permission. You know what God has called you to do. You know what keeps you up at night. You know what he's been pulling on you to do, but you're waiting on your mama. Some of y'all are waiting on your mama to say, "Oh, baby, that's a good idea. You could do that." Some of y'all are waiting on your dad, on your father to give you the green light. Some of us are waiting on our husband, on our wife. We're waiting on our spouse to say, "Oh, babe, yes, that's a great idea. I so see you doing that. I can see you doing that." Y'all, some of us are never going to have that. You're never going to have those people who are closest to you believing in you, believing that you can do this thing that you believe God has called you to do. Thank God for people in our life who are willing to support us, right? Even when they don't see it. Thank God for those people, but you can't wait on that. So many of y'all are waiting on those people that you love to give you permission to say, "I believe in you," to say, "I see it." I want people to say, "Oh, Kira, I see it. I see it. I believe it." Right? But y'all, I can't wait on that. I can't wait on that. You know what God told me? God said, "Look, they're not going to see it. They're not going to see it. They're not going to believe it." You know why? Because y'all know when people are going to see it, when people are going to believe it, y'all, people are going to see it. They're going to see it when you show it to them. Listen, when you show it to them, that's when they're going to be able to see it. That's when they're going to be able to believe it. Not because they don't love you, not because they don't want the best for you. No, y'all, they love you. They want the best for you. They just don't see it. And they're not going to see it until you show it to them. Right? So you're not moving, you're not acting on the dreams, on the visions, on the ideas that God has given you because you're waiting on someone to give you permission. You're waiting on someone to say, "Oh, yeah, Kira, I see it. Girl, I see it." You're waiting on someone to say, "I believe it. I believe you can do it." You're waiting on someone to give you permission before you even start. Before you even start trying to figure this thing out, before you start walking in obedience and walking with God, you're waiting on someone to give you the green light. Y'all, when you feel God pulling on you to do that thing, when God is calling you to do that thing, y'all, that is the green light. That is God saying, "Woman of God, go. Man of God, go. Go." Stop waiting on somebody to say you're smart enough. Stop waiting on somebody to say you're pretty enough. Stop waiting on someone to say you're creative enough, you're funny enough, you're whatever. We got to stop waiting on people to tell us that we are enough to do this thing that God has called us to do. Stop waiting on somebody to tell you you qualified. How can somebody else tell us that we are qualified to do something that God has called us to do when my God is the one who set the qualifications? Yeah. Listen, how are you going to tell me I'm qualified when the God that I serve set the qualifications? Y'all, you're qualified. If God is calling you to do it, you're qualified, or as you're walking in obedience, right? He's going to qualify you when you start walking in obedience. Whichever the case may be, nobody else is going to set the qualifications for the thing that God has called you to do. So your friend can't give you the green light on whether it's time for you to go and step out and do this thing that God has called you to do. Your spouse can't give you the green light. Your mama can't give you the green light. Your daddy can't give you the green light. You don't need permission, right? When God gives you the assignment, that is the green light. He's saying go. And y'all, I am not saying, listen now. I'm not saying we don't need mentors. I'm not saying don't get a coach. You need a mentor. You need a coach. You need a community of people who have done and who are doing whatever this thing is that God has called you to do, you need guidance. You need to seek people that you know you can trust to give you wise counsel, right? That's not what I'm saying. But when we go to these people, y'all, we're not going to them for them to tell us whether or not to do this thing. Because some of us are going and we want the person to say, oh, yeah, you should do it. That's not why we're going. We're not going to them for them to say whether or not we should do it. We're not going to them to get the green light. We're going to them to say, hey, these are some things that I want you to consider. Hey, these are some people I want you to consider talking to. These are some things I want you to consider doing as you walk this thing out, right? As you do this thing that you're saying God has called you to do. These are some books I would recommend you reading. These are some habits that I would recommend you forming, right? These are some things that I want you to consider that will allow you to grow in the ways you need to grow to do this thing that you say God is calling you to do. But they're not giving you the green light. And I thought about how I was watching Deion Sanders. I don't remember what I was watching, but Deion Sanders was talking about how his parents never came to his football games, like, in middle school, high school. I guess they were working, they had to work. But he said that his performance was not affected by his parents being there because he learned to play without the applause. He learned to play well, to operate in excellence, whether somebody was cheering for him or not. Y'all, that stuck out to me because when God gives us an assignment, that's exactly what God is telling us to do. He's saying, woman of God, man of God, you're going to have to move in such a way. You're going to have to learn to walk in obedience, whether they clapping or not. You're going to have to learn to trust in me, right? To put your trust in me and to trust that my will for you is what's best for you, whether they're cheering for you or not, whether they're supporting you or not, whether they're encouraging you or not, whether they're saying, oh, Kira, I believe you could do that thing or not. I can see you doing that thing or not. Whether they see it or not, you're going to have to learn to do it anyway. And you're going to have to learn to do it with excellence, right? Because the other part of it, y'all, is if you allow other people's applause and their support and whether or not they believe in you and whether or not they believe you can do this thing, if you allow that to determine whether you go, whether you move forward in this thing that God has called you to do, if you let that be your green light, then you're also going to allow those same voices to be your red light. If they had the power to tell you when to go, you're giving them the power to tell you when to stop. You're giving those same people that when they stop supporting you, when they stop clapping for you, when they no longer believe, when they're like, oh, okay, you've been doing this for a long time. I don't see any fruit. I don't really see where this is going. I don't get the vision. I don't see it, right? Those same people, you have given those same people the power to tell you to stop because they're no longer believing. They're no longer clapping. No, God is saying you got to learn to walk in obedience, whether people see the vision or not. You got to learn to walk in obedience, whether they believe in what you're doing or not. And you're not just showing other people. That's the other thing, y'all. God allows the people that are closest to us, he allows them to not see the vision, to not see the dream that he's placed on the inside of you. He allows them to not see this thing and not believe in you because he wants you to show them, because he knows that their belief, as you start walking in this thing and doing what he's called you to do, you're not just showing them, you're showing yourself. You're showing you. Your belief is rising. Y'all, that's why God can't allow them to have this belief in you. He can't allow them to see it the way you see it because he needs you. He needs your belief to rise. He needs you to do this thing because you're not just showing them, you're showing yourself that you can do this thing. You're showing yourself that you're capable of doing this thing that God has called you to do. Yeah, It is as much for you as it is for them. It is as much for you as it is for them. You're walking in obedience for you and your own belief, right? To grow in your own belief and to grow in your ability to put your trust in God. That all of that is as much for you as it is for them. Their disbelief, the fact that they won't believe in this thing that God has called you to do, they won't encourage you, they won't support you. That's what God is using. God is using that to work in you, to work in and through you, right? So that you can operate and you can be obedient, whether people are clapping or not, whether they believe in you or not. He's using it. So, y'all, you don't need permission. You don't need permission. You are qualified. God has the gifts, the talents, the abilities, the skills He has allowed you to acquire over your life. All of these things, y'all, you are qualified to do this thing that He is calling you to do. You're qualified. You don't need anyone's permission. When God called you, when you felt God leading you, guiding you, when you feel that nudge, that thing, like I said, that keeps you up some nights that you just can't let go. You try to do it, you try to stop, you try to give up, and you can't let it go. When you feel God calling you to do that thing, y'all, that is your green light. God said, you are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which He has prepared in advance for you to do. In advance, He prepared these works. God said, before you were formed, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. I knew you. I set you apart. Kira, I created the purpose for your life. I did all this before I formed you in your mother's womb. So, y'all, you have been called. You have been set apart. God has given you an assignment. He has created you for a unique work in the earth, and you don't need anybody's permission. You got the green light. All right. Y'all, that's it. Bye.